Well, it does, because there's kind of this market that's kind of, disjointed. You've got the small businesses laying off risk, and you have the banks trying to lay on risk. So you have these kind of, two competing interests going in opposite directions. And I think that really gives us an insight into the real economy here by seeing how these small businesses are reacting right now.
So we had seen a different trend up until now. I mean, could this be a one-off situation, or are we expecting now to see a more longer-term change of sentiment, if you will?
Well, actually, that's a really good point, that we see in the Small Business Lending Index that we've had 3 consecutive months of decrease in the index. And this is the first time since late 2007 that we've had 3 consecutive months of decreases. So it really looks like a trend is developing here. We've been talking about this kind of long-term slowdown trend from 2010 to 2011 and 2012, and unfortunately that's continuing right now with this latest release.
And if you have said in the past, this is a leading indicator, so that doesn't sound good that we're back to what we saw in 2007.
That's right. I mean, that was the inflection point in the economy. Now we're not, we just see that small businesses are risk averse right now. We are seeing that they don't want to take on new projects to invest in capital, invest in plant, invest in equipment, put new tools in place, or expand their branches. And so they're kind of hunkering down a little bit, and they're just really not taking on the appetite. They don't have the appetite to take on new projects at this time. And that doesn't necessarily mean we're going into a contraction, but it just means that they don't have that appetite right now.
Obviously, this does not bode well for hiring.
Well, we see that there's a lag of about 9 months. When the index is down, that means no new jobs on about a 9-month lag. And so that's the kind of read that we have right now for the foreseeable future. There are some bright spots, though. Some industry sectors, especially that industrial manufacturing sector, is really making a comeback. And it's pretty interesting when you look at how those companies are reinventing themselves.
So we've got one bright spot there, which is good. I guess the one question I would have for you, when you look at these numbers, do you get a sense of why the tide turned beyond the risk-on, risk-off story? Was it one particular episode? Was it what's happening in Washington? I mean, do you have any idea from the compilation you've done on the index as to what sort of turned the tide?
Well, the recovery's been going for a while, I mean, we all don't feel like the economy's back to full potential, but it has been recovering for a while. And so, the cycle's been advancing. And when the cycle advances, you get natural, changes in the cycle. And so I don't know that it's unnatural that we would get these kind of ups and downs. The question is, how long is this going to last? And, can we see the, really ignite small businesses again? That's the half of the economy that's missing in the picture right now.
How about defaults? The default indexes also saw rises across the board. What's changed there that's making those small businesses less optimistic or less able to manage through something?
Right. The asset class for small business is becoming riskier. And that's what I mean. It's becoming a riskier asset class. It's still low by historical standards, but it's still becoming riskier. The default rates were 1.3% in 2012. And this year, our credit ratings are forecasting that the ratings are actually going to fall because default rates are going up to 2.1%. So you have this rise in default rates, and that's really due to a few things. One is obviously the economy has been very slow. A rising tide lifts all boats, and that affects the small businesses which are captive to their local markets. So that's a piece of it. But the other piece of it too is we just see some of these leading economically sensitive sectors like transportation and retail starting to exhibit some financial stress. We see a lot of those transportation companies starting to get, find it harder to pay their bills on time.